Now let's put our attention back to that Minnesota Supreme Court. Two veteran judges, as we mentioned, will be joining the state's highest court in the coming months. John Croman has more from the state capitol.
A new look lineup for the Supreme Court will be taking shape here at the Judicial Center by the end of the summer, with a female majority and all 7 members appointed by Democratic governors.
When you run for governor, you theoretically understand you will be appointing justices. You quickly understand that what that means is more profound than maybe you can think about.
Governor Walz formally introduced his new justices at a gathering of their families and friends in the Capitol Rotunda. One is Stearns County Chief Judge Sarah Hennessy, who spent part of her career working for Mid-Minnesota Legal Aid.
I worked almost exclusively with women who were being abused when I was working at Legal Aid as part of Stearns County's domestic violence court. And so I have a pretty deep sense of how the legal system and how precedent impact folks who live at the margins of our society. And
also joining the High Court, Minnesota Appeals Court Judge Theodora Gaiatis, who worked as a public defender earlier in her career.
As a public defender, you work with individuals from indigent backgrounds who are, facing some of the most frightening circumstances of their lives, criminal charges.
They're replacing Justices G. Barry Anderson, a Tim Pawlenty appointee who's retiring in May, and Justice Margaret Chudich, a Mark Dayton appointee who will retire in July.
I admire you both so much. I've appeared in front of you, and it is just incredible to me to be here today. In this situation now, not answering your questions, but getting to hold the podium. Thank you.
This will mark the first time in recent history that all 7 justices were appointed by governors of one political party. But the new appointees say they'll continue to apply the law evenly.
And you can look through the history of the decisions I've made and seen that there's no partisan slant to the way that I make my decisions. I'm sworn to uphold the Constitution, and when I find myself in gray areas, I am very careful to check myself for any biases.
It is very important to me to not be perceived as partisan or results-oriented. I go where the law follows me, or where the law takes me. Justice
Anderson, just like Justice Alan Page before him, is running up against the Supreme Court's mandatory retirement age of 70. Anderson will be turning 70 in October, but decided to go ahead and retire now to give the governor a head start replacing him. In St. Paul, John Croman, KARE 11 News.